Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Guide Chat. My name is Jake. I want to say thank you for joining me again today. If you're new here, welcome. I do weekly tarot card readings about current events, and feel free to like, subscribe, comment with your own questions if you would like me to ask in a future video. I am happy to do that as long as it's not personal questions. Um, so, as always, a lot has been going on in recent events. I know a while back on a video I mentioned that Congress is going to step in about Venezuela, which they did in the essence of bringing up the legislation in the Senate, which unfortunately failed, despite initially having Republicans. There were some Republicans on board, and then enough stepped away because they got insurances, whatever that means, that there wasn't going to be any aggressions towards Venezuela. So therefore, they did not vote for the Venezuela Wars Act. However, the biggest thing, a country that we're talking about, well, there's two, Greenland and Iran, but Greenland's even a little more hotter right now. It always seems to change from week to week. Not even week to week, day to day. So right now we're focused on Greenland. Um, Now, I did mention in the last video, I did ask Spirit in general, like if there was going to be any kind of, not necessarily invasion, I was ambiguous in regards to any kind of military action, blockade, anything like that. And they did say yes. So, what I'm going to start out first is that there is legislation being developed in the House, similar to the Venezuela one, but towards for Greenland. So I do want to see if Congress first is going to pass because there is much more uh, dissension against going into Greenland or annexing or anything like that versus Venezuela. So let's look at Greenland. If Congress will limit what Trump can do in regards to prevent him from having aggressions towards Greenland. Congress. Let's see what Spirit says. Yeah. There is right now, Eight of Cups, so walking away, crossed by the Death card. So this is uh, so right now Congress wants the administration to walk away from this idea about Greenland. But Trudeau Trump, once he gets something in his head, he's determined to do so, whether people are pushing against it or not. So he is currently resistant to that. There's a karmatic uh, relationship to this situation in the past. I think this is talking about Congress and Trump working in tandem, the administration. I think that it's showing a rift, especially when it comes to this issue, that we're starting to see even more resistance among Republicans. The basis of this is financial security. So, just like Venezuela was about the real thing that eventually came out, which a lot of people already said was the oil, they're saying it's about security. It's not in regards to defense. We already have a treaty, I think, since 1917 with Greenland to have bases. We can build as many bases we want, actually. So this is in regards to financial. We're talking about doing the resources and rare minerals. That's what I wanted to say. We want to have those rare minerals and the riches that come from that. Um, the over the crowning of this reading is the Queen of Cups. There's wants to in regards to Greenland and in essence Denmark, because this is a territory of Denmark. more compassion because these are our friends. In regards to, if you may or may not know, Denmark uh, has a strong relationship with the United States, very tight relationship. They have sent troops to Afghanistan, they have sent troops to Iraq. I mean, a lot more than a lot of other European countries. This is going to be an utter downfall, which is not good in Congress. Where the question was, is Congress going to stop? I think it's going to fall dead in the House. There is some kind of surprise, so I don't know if this is meaning that there's something else that get introduced, a different worded legislation in regards to that. It is going to be fast moving. Um, and then there's a Four of Swords, which is not, that's the hopes and fears, which is not a good sign there. And it's a no, it's a heartbreak. I don't think people are going to, they're going to get enough votes, Congress, to stop. It's whether if it passes the House and it's lays dead in the Senate, or they don't pass in the House, and that's unfortunate, very unfortunate. Um, so, like I said before in the last reading, hopefully I'm wrong that there's no um, any kind of military like blockade to stealing Greenlandic ships. Um, So I want to do, let's take a look over the next 2 months with Greenland in general, asking Spirit if what the Spirit see with Greenland in general in the next 2 months. Greenland in general in the next 2 months. What's the general vibe that we're getting from Greenland? Greenland is very much so wants to have clear boundaries about what they want, who they want to deal with, who they want to be associated with no judgment either. They're doing it clear with using their heads. What's being crossed is definitely the greed. The greed is stopping them. It's preventing them from doing those clear boundaries because people want the resources that are there in Greenland. In the recent past, you have the Three of Wands. You're looking at overseas expansions. I think that's what was going on, trade talks, and this is preventing for any of that because right now they're worried about their territory at present. Um, in the basis of this is financial opportunities. So through all this, there might be some kind of negotiation that happens with the United States, with other European countries, to, in essence, in the long term view, maybe a result of what's going on in there. And this is even more so, the Empress is crowning this reading. This is probably could be in regards to Russia being involved with, be Trump, Putin and Trump as being very close, and I'm sure this is an idea of Putin to distract everyone and let everyone, the allies, in regards to the United States and its allies, to destroy each other while he can do whatever he can do right now, be distracted. There are financial opportunities. So what I said before, I think over the next few months, what's going on in Greenland will lead to more financial opportunities for Greenland. Again, Queen of Pentacles backing up that statement in regards to that, and to bring some more harmony. So that's good to hear that within the next couple months we'll see some moderation coming from the outside environment. That's probably because Europe is being more involved right now. Europe, I think countries like France, Germany, Netherlands have sent, and Denmark has sent ships in the Greenland area. There is going to be, with the Four of Wands, the hope is to have some kind of community being involved, which is already, we're seeing that, and a lot of soul searching. I think, and I kind of said this in the last reading, and again, the Nine of Wands setting boundaries and looking at the long term view over the next couple months. So I think there was definitely going to be a change in the relationship with the United States over the long term, even if after Trump leaves office. It's one of those trust things, right? When you break, just like any relationship, when you break trust, it's going to be hard to repair that trust. It's not going to be an overnight thing. I think it'll be easier with some countries versus others, but with Greenland and Denmark, it may take longer because I think they feel really betrayed and hurt. I can say probably pretty much so because the cards in my feelings from Spirit has indicated that. So to recap, in over the next few months, I think there will be more financial opportunities for Greenland, um, and in more harmony and balance in that area. All right. Before we go domestic, I want to look at Iran. Right now, with the protests going on in Iran, it's hard to know exactly what's going on. The government in Iran have shut off the internet over there, so it's hard to get a lot of information and news right now. I can say that in that area, that it's been weakened over the last few years with changes in Syria, with Israeli attacks on Lebanon, with Hezbollah, with the what's going on with the Israeli and Palestinian war. All that has weakened Iran's grip in the region. So this is probably a result of that in Iran, and plus with the economy not doing so well. So let's take a look, Spirit. If United States and that's too many cards. United States will attack on Iran. I know right now he's saying he's not, but he said that about Venezuela, and you never know. So right now there's supposedly protests. There's been a guarantee from the Iranian government, which is not one to trust to begin with, about telling the truth, have put a stay on executions of protesters. So let's take a look. Will the United States eventually attack Iran in the near future? Okay. We start out with the star card. With this revolution that's going on, or protest, I shouldn't say revolution, that's a little strong. Protesting that's going on, there is some hope in there, and it's crossed by the Seven of Cups. So they're overwhelmed right now about choices, because I think right now, I think the hope can go both ways. I think in the United States they're hoping that this might be a start of a change in Iran, and be more aligned to the value of having a more close relationship with the Western world again. There's also the feeling that this is hope within Iran, that there might be a change and an alignment going on, since this is supposed to be massive. This is the protesting going on in the victory, that in the Six of Wands, they weren't able to quell the protests as much as they did before. So it shows the weakened Iranian government. However, with the King of Swords, there is definitely people there trying to, that I feel from the protesters, that are trying to use their head over their heart. Also in the United States, there's people saying may not be the right time, because it may actually do the opposite of what we want to happen. And here's the Sun card crown in the reading. So this is a lot of positivity going on by this. And we have the Ten of Cups, people gathering together. That we have the Knight of Swords, a lot of fast action going on in this area. This is a world card. We're going through a new cycle there in that region, but then there's some disappointment in that Eight of Cups, because I always view that this is a hopeful situation, but it's a long road ahead. That's in the hopes and fears. However, the King of Cups is the outcome. So there is trying to be emotionally balanced and be more diplomatic when it comes to this. And here's the Fool card at the bottom of the deck. So this is definitely a start of a new beginning. I still think this is a long process out in Iran. I don't think this is going to happen overnight, but this might be a change. There's a feeling that maybe they're with the Ayatollah might step down. I haven't done a follow up, but there's a good chance there might be a new moderate Ayatollah that might come in before there's real changes. I think the real changes in Iran, having a democratic form of government, is still a ways um, away. So, in regards to the question, I feel like they will work through the diplomatic channels right now with Iran. Okay. Um, let's take a look at the domestically. Let's bring back home uh, Minnesota. Today, as I'm filming this on Thursday, and just want to say thank you for watching this. This is coming out later than that. My normal day job took long. I was working a late day today, long day, so I could not film this earlier, but I decided to come on once I was done and talk to you all. So the the Insurrection Act. I want to ask Spirit if he as in Trump will implement that Insurrection Act. Now, the Insurrection Act, the two of Pentacles, so he's weighing his options right now, going back and forth. The Insurrection Act was last used in by George H.W. Bush, so that's the first President Bush during the Rodney King riots in LA. And so it's not used that often, but it's a fear that people have said that it will be his way of bringing in the National Guard or the military into um, an area by issuing the Insurrection Act. So let's see if President Trump will do that in Minnesota. Too many cards there. Okay. We have the King of Cups here. This is crossed by the Four of Wands. So, there is very much with the King of Cups is somebody that's emotionally balanced, which is not Trump. When it's being crossed by someone that is wanting to cause disharmony, and that's what I'm thinking. What he's wanting to do in this situation. It's a way for him to use. I feel like it's the way for he's thinking about doing it to gain more power and control of an area. Um, the Six of Pentacles was in the past, which is I think there might have been some kind of, which is strange to even say, some kind of financial deal to do this, whether it's working with security companies or things like that in regards to ICE to do this. But then there's a sudden change with the Tower card is on the basis. There's something that's about to change. Keeping the cards close with the Four of Pentacles here. See, and this is where I'm talking about because there's in a Page of Pentacles, there's something to do with some kind of money. I wonder if there's security contracts or something like that going on, and there's strength behind that. There's something going on with this. This is going to be another downfall. If he does this, this is not going to be a good thing. It's actually going to backfire. See, because he's hoping for a financial opportunity. I'm wondering if there's some kind of military contractors or something that he would use But then there's a strong star card. So, which is a huge yes card that he is going to use that. But then it's going to cause people to come together and then they'll end up going to retreat. I think this is going to cause people in Minnesota to get together and fight against doing this. It's going to backfire. This is why the Ten of Swords is coming in from that outside environment. I just think this would be a dumb move. And I hope, again, that I'm incorrect on this one. The star card is like a huge yes card that he is going to use the Insurrection Act. Oh, goodness. During these times, I know it's hard to hear sometimes negative things that come out through spirit and stuff like that, but we have to understand that spirit is telling us things in order us to prepare things, in order us to prepare and how to react on things, because it's not in this life where we have to have the good and bad, because that's the only way we're going to be able to evolve as individuals. And we don't it's okay, we can be upset and sad and angry, but we also have to remember, what can we do to personally make a difference and a change, because not everything we can't carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We just can't. It's not possible for any one individual, but we can all work together to make the world, I almost said make the world a better place, and that's so cliche, but in the way of shining our light, doing the light work that is possible for everyone. And through that togetherness, we can make changes. We really can. Okay. I want to look at, and with that, let's look at I want to look at our long term, and I haven't done this, a long term result of this current political environment. I want to see what this is going to result in the long term. This current situations that we're going through, what is that going to lead the United States to in the long term? What is all this chaos and madness that we're going through? What is this going to result in the long term look and in the United States? Here we go. World card. This is a big change. We're going through a huge change cycle here. What is it being crossed by? The Three of Pentacles. This is the disharmony, the misalignment, the disagreements. It's disorganizations. What we're going through right now. This is part of that change. It's going to cause this disharmony and whatnot. In the recent past, we have the King of Swords, the be using our head over heart, having clarity in things. And this is the foundation, is we're planting the seeds for this change with the Seven of Pentacles. And this will lead, the crowning this is the Page of Swords. We're going to be cutting through this disharmony with this Page of Sword and creating new ideas and ways of running the country, how we run this country. And this is here we go in the near future. Page of Wands. This is leading to ideas, discovery, exploration into new ways of working. And this is also, this disappointment can lead to disappointment, the Eight of Cups, but it also walking away what we used to be like. And that's not meaning that we're going to go into civil war or anything. Don't twist my words. I'm saying about how we ran things, how we work together is going to change. We have to look with the Page of Wands. We have to look at new ways of working together and rebuilding from this. From the outside, this is going to be a victory that we're going to succeed past these moments. Okay, with the Six of Wands, but we have to get over our negative thoughts. We're going to have to all experience PTSD about this. Anybody who lived in these times right now is going to have to fight against those negative thoughts while we're going through changes and new ideas. and stop saying, oh, it's never going to work. Oh, I can't work with these people. They thought this way. There's going to be a time for forgiveness and reconciliation that has to happen, because we can't just work with one set of people. We have to work together in order to make changes. And then it's going to lead at first, this Eight of Swords, it's going to lead into the Four of Cups, apathy, but let's look at some further explanation. But then it's going to, I'm going to cover up the naughty bits for YouTube. The Lover's card. This apathy we'll have to get over that in order to work together, contemplate things. Again, this is the end of what we used to know and how we work together. But we are strong with the Strength card to create more action. And that's what's going to lead these times are going to lead into the long run. We're going through a huge cycle change. It's painful, I know. There's probably some kind of mourning in regards to happier times, but it's necessary too. Spirit is telling us we have to do this in order to change. This is major, major growing pains for us as a nation. And we all signed up to do this, whether we believe that or not, it is. So that's why we're here, because we're all here willing to volunteer to do something to be part of this change. Okay. Okay. I'm going to switch cards here. I'm going back to the Oracle cards to close out with a general message for it, for everyone. Leave it on a brighter, positive note, right? And I love these cards. Just again, work your light oracle. I do like the bright colors, very floral, and comparison to the black classic tarot deck that I use. Let's look at spirit. Let's have a general message for the public out there. Something that you want to tell the viewers out there that best will help us the best way. Oop. Okay. The first card that comes up is inner temple. What really opens your heart? What do you want to devote your heart and your light for? Your soul family, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, supportive people, not just like-minded. I shouldn't say that, but supportive people. It shouldn't be always like-minded. You can have diverse individuals, but are they being supportive to you? Also, the star seed. What's lighting you up? We have to focus on our inner light, because if we work on what brightens our light, it also spreads out and will affect other facets of your life in a positive way. Get grounded. Go outside. I know it's winter time here, it's cold, but even going outside, doing some errands, going to some place, interacting with people can help. This is about looking within with the warrior woman. What have you been calling on? Make sure you devote time to listening to spirit about what's calling you to shine your life. And this is birthing a new age. This is what we were closing out with. We're going through some growing pains. This is and I've said this before, what are you going to do to make changes to create the life in your environment around you the best way that's going to serve you? Hopefully that made sense. What can you do to improve your environment? That's a better rewording. Sorry. And then trust the path we're going through. I know it's so hard to trust spirit, but we are always on the path we're supposed to be on. I know that's hard to be. I believe me, some of the paths that I've been on in my life, I would always question: Am I off my path? No, I had to go that way. Sometimes I chose to go that way, and it may have been a harder way to get around it, but it got me to where I'm at today. So, boundaries, making sure we're setting our boundaries, protecting ourselves, protecting the way we want to live our life. In the priestess, how we're going to step up to lead. And this is not necessarily be a leader in an organization or stuff. We are all leaders of our own life, and we cannot sit around and just let things come to us. There are going to be some things that come to us, but most of the time we're going to miss out on a lot of things if we don't get up and do something about it. Do something to make the improvements that we need to in our life. And everybody can do that. Everyone can make changes that can help improve their life. Sometimes it's harder. Some people, making changes in their life feels like an uphill battle, but it does not. We're not in a race here in our lives. Start small. Small changes lead to lasting changes. All right. So with that, thank you everyone again for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions that you want me to ask on a future reading. Until then, take care. Bye bye.